Hey guys, and welcome back to another tutorial walkthrough. Today we are going to be taking a look at the trends page as well as looking at the best ways to get value out of this feature of the Hall of Fame Bets app. So without further ado, let's get right into the walkthrough. Now, I think the key part with the trends page and something that maybe really derives from a lack of understanding of what this concept means is edge. Now, edge is something that I think a lot of bettors are looking at, and people look to try and find edge in many different ways. But the way that we've defined edge and the way that the trends page looks at edge is essentially calculated by taking the implied odds based on a specific data set. So let's say we're looking at last 5 games. What are the implied odds, the probability of the specific prop you're looking at, how often is that hit in that 5 games versus the offered odds. Now, we can obviously also read the definition on the screen here, but we can also take a look at the example, because I think the example is a really good way of identifying what edge is and why edge is so important when looking at bets. So in this example, they say that if a bet has hit in 70% of games this season and a sports book is offering plus 100 odds, plus 100 odds obviously means that the sports book's putting it at about a 50% chance of hitting, then there would be an edge of plus 20% because it's hit in 70% of games for the season. The sports book is saying that the offered odds for that game is about 50%, and so the edge would be 20%. Now, just because edge exists doesn't mean that it necessarily means that that's the bet that we have to take for the night. It's not always, the props with the best edge are the best bets for the night. It's just saying that there is an edge exists there, and it just suggests that there's time to take more research into it. So that's exactly what we're going to do, and we're going to start to take a look at some of the props with the highest edge for today. So to get right into it, obviously right now we're looking at 2023, so we're looking at performances throughout the season. We can look at different time frames if we want. We can look at last 5, last 10, last 20, head to head as well. But for the sake of this video, we're just going to look at props throughout the season and how they performed. So at the very top, with a quite a high edge of plus 46%, we can take a look at this prop here, under 2.5 earned runs for Curry, who is the pitcher for the Cleveland Guardians. So, obviously a plus 46% edge is one that suggests that we definitely need to take a closer look at this prop, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So if we click on it, essentially that edge of plus 46% comes from this. Now, Curry has gone under his line in 90% of games this season. So, they're suggesting that there's a ton of value here because he's gone under in 90%, and the book is offering at plus 125. DraftKings is offering at that. So, there's a ton of value basically from the outset here, but, the important part of looking further and deeper into this is we can start to analyze, okay, why are they offering it at plus 125 if it's only gone under in 90% of games this season? So let's scroll down and look at the game log, and maybe we can begin to identify why they're offering such good odds for a prop that seems to have gone under a ton this season. And taking a closer look at the game log, we can start to see where that comes from. Now, if you look at the last few games, obviously he's gone under in 2 of the last 3 games where he's pitched 6, 5, and 5 innings. But when we start to go more further down, we can start to see that before he was only pitching about 1 to 2 to 3 innings, at most 3. So it seems like from this specific example that Curry might have been a relief pitcher, or he was a starting pitcher who just wasn't pitching many innings. But in that case, that's why his earned runs are so low, and that's why they're saying there's a ton of edge here, is because even though he's gone under 90% of games this season, he wasn't pitching enough innings where, his earned runs would have gone over 3 a ton. So, although there's still some value because we can see in the last 3 games, he pitched 5 innings and he pitched another 5 innings and he pitched 6 innings, and he did go under in 2 of those 3 games. I think there's just not a large enough sample size for us to really take this prop and say, this edge is something that I really want to place my bets in. So let's go back here to the trends page and start to look at some of the other props. So again, I think there is some value in that prop, but we're really trying to find props that have very, very good value and something that we were willing to put our money on further. So, another neat part of the trends page is, you can sort by specific stats. You can sort by specific games. If it's a game you're going to, a game you're going to tune into, we can sort by props from games. We can sort by odds as well. So, we can look at props from, for example, let's say we want to double our money. We can look at props for plus 200 up to plus 1,000, try and find edge there. We're not going to do that, but that is something you can do. We can look at Sportsbook. Let's say you only focus specifically on FanDuel. We can look at some of FanDuel's props for the night and which props might have the best edge from there. Another neat feature. And then the last one, obviously, that we can look at is we can look at over and under. So if you want to focus more on betting on the over, if you want to root for a guy, you don't want to hope he doesn't surpass his line, we can sort by over, we can sort by under. But I think for the sake of this video, we're going to go to one of my favorite props, which is the strikeout props. And I think the strikeout props, at least I've had a ton of success betting on them. And I think edge is a place where you can really identify within the strikeout prop. So for the sake of this video, we're just going to look at strikeouts and kind of walk through what my daily routine with strikeout props are. Obviously we sorted by strikeouts now. We can scroll down, see some of the different props, what is the best edge, and the good news is there's a ton of good edge here. So we'll kind of look through some of these props. So obviously we already looked at Curry. We kind of identified he wasn't pitching enough innings before to really take any of his data too seriously at this point in time. So we're just going to scroll past and look at some different options. Now, I'm kind of lucky that I do this on a daily basis. And so I can kind of identify which teams are teams you want to pitch pitchers against, teams that strike out a lot, batters that strike out a lot. And already there's one that's caught my eye, and that's this prop right here. Severino against the Washington Nationals. Now, obviously we're going to do walkthrough for other features of the app, but I'm just going to quickly switch over here to leaderboards, and I've already loaded up team strikeouts. Now, this feature of leaderboards is, I think, really, really crucial because it helps you identify, okay, which teams don't strike out a lot, which teams strike out a lot. And when you're looking at the under, you want teams that don't strike out a lot, because you're basically saying the pitcher has a tough matchup in terms of a team that doesn't strike out a ton. So obviously I alluded to it already, but the Nationals are a team that don't strike out a lot. In fact, on this season, they're only averaging 7.1 strikeouts as a team, which is the second lowest in the MLB. If we go to the last 20, we can see they're actually leading the league in terms of the least amount of strikeouts. If we go to the last 10, same thing here. Over the last 10 games, they're only averaging 6 strikeouts a game. So again, there's a ton of value here in terms of Washington not being a team that strikes out a lot. And then, we go back to Severino's under, and we start to look at, okay, the edge here is really, really good, really, really strong. In fact, he's gone under in 87% of games this season. He's gone under in 100% of the last 5, and he's gone under in 90% of the last 10. So, there's a ton of value here. We can see, okay, he hasn't played Washington before. How's he performed in home games? He's gone over in just 1 home game this season. And then we can scroll down and look, okay, he's definitely a starting pitcher. He's someone who has a decent strikeout, 4 strikeouts a game, but again, I think under 5.5, there's a ton of value with this prop, and we also know that the Nationals are a team that doesn't strike out a lot. So this is definitely a prop that I would add to my bet slip, and I think this is a prop that we would keep our eye out on for the night, and there's definitely some value here. So again, I hope this tutorial was helpful in kind of breaking down the ways of finding edge and using trends to find edge, and then taking a deeper dive into each prop and really looking at, okay, what are the props I want to bet on tonight? What are the props I want to add to my parlays? Everything like that. So, hope the tutorial was helpful, and, stay tuned for many more to come as well.